Every culture has some version of the Cinderella story that they've developed on their own. So it must speak to something that people feel deep within themselves.
In terms of like a storybook romance, it is that to a T.
It locks in as, oh, look, there's somebody out there that's gonna help me make all my dreams come true, and everything's gonna be a fairy tale and it's all gonna be perfect.
I mean, through the years you've seen all these different Cinderella movies, and it almost feels like Cinderella evolves through the generations.
As we grow up and we have dreams and we want to fall in love, I think that it's just such a great sort of centerpiece for that.
We all like to believe in fairy tales, but every single child grows up, so this is the adult version.
There are elements of it that are very traditional, very Cinderella, and you're gonna see that and you're gonna love it. But then there's parts that you just go, what?
It starts off with the same typical characters. We all have different names though, than Rosie Snow is the Cinderella character.
Rosie in the play can't go to the ball because she can't dance. And it turns out she could dance all along, she had forgotten. But her fear of looking like a fool was going to keep her from realizing her ambition of going to the ball.
It's kind of like a modern take on Cinderella. So she's got a lot of edge. She's not just the typical fairy tale princess. She speaks her mind.
Rosie and I grew up together, we found out in the story, but she's forgotten about me as I have sort of become this village idiot.
Zed is the village idiot. He has a hard time speaking and like voicing what he's trying to say, and everybody just kind of looks past him, and then everybody's also really afraid of him.
We find out through the play that I happen to be fairly poetic and maybe a voice of reason.
And Rosie ends up befriending him, and they form a sort of relationship. All this time everybody overlooks him, and she realizes he's actually really special.
I think he is actually the real prince. He's new to the story, but he is the contemporary prince. He might appear to be awkward, he might appear to be geeky and weird on so many levels, but he's the real prince because he has a really beautiful heart.
And he's the one that teaches her how to dance. And that's how the play gets its name, Cinderella Waltz.
So I had the experience in the play of reminding her who I am and then helping her along to the ball. But as I'm doing that, I'm reminded that I'm in fact in love with her. So I find myself torn, being really hopeful for her dreams to come true, but also trying to convince her that I'm right in front of her and I'm actually a real thing that I really believe is good for her.
Mother McGee, she loves her alcohol.
Fairy godmother, we put in air quotes. She is. She very much is. She's just not the fairy godmother you're going to expect.
She's a bit of a wild woman. She's definitely younger in this show, a little bit more hip, or so she thinks she is.
Think of it like this. Pretend like you have a glorious fairy godmother who's willing to give you anything you want, but she's from the backwoods of Tennessee.
There's a wonderful moment between her and the village idiot where she says, you know, sometimes I wish I could go to the ball and meet a prince, but that ain't how it works. And we see that fairy godmothers have their own wistful little dreams too.
I think the message of Cinderella is almost changing now. It's not about chasing the prince, and it's not about being rich and having, you know, everything you want in life. It's about figuring out who you are.
My takeaway is, if you get too caught up in fantasies and dreams and you're not actually doing anything to really pursue those, they'll always be out of arm's length.
I think the theme is we usually see what we want to see, and sometimes if we can open our eyes, we'll see a very different world.
This play is so funny, and it's not like normal plays, because normal plays you go and you have a story and you tell your story, and oh, here's a little funny moment here, and oh, there's a little funny moment there. It's like Don Niagara flipped the entire thing over and said, no, we're just gonna have a play of funny moments.
It is a laugh, fall out of your chair comedy with a whole new twist and a whole new meaning to Cinderella.
It's not really, you know, this intensely emotional show, but I do think that there are parts of it where you think about yourself and how you're pursuing your dreams, and maybe you have a renewed sense of hope that you can get what you want.
I would love for the audience to take away the thought that dreams can come true, albeit not in the way that we might expect. But they do come true, and we can attain that.
Great characters, a great story which has stood up for centuries, and a really great twist on it. You'll gasp at the ending.
Come see Cinderella Waltz at the Morgan Wixon Theater in Santa Monica. You'll love it.